It's time to hit the road again. Hey everybody, this is Rob. If you're new here, this channel is about minivan-based camping, minivan conversions, and adventure travel. If you'd like to see how I converted this Honda minivan into a really comfortable camper, complete with running water, I'll put the link to 2 of my van build videos in the description below. Today my travels are going to take me on a week-long journey to South Carolina and Kentucky, where I'm going to visit 2 of the smallest national parks in the country, Congaree National Park and Mammoth Cave. My first 2 nights were at Poinsett State Park in South Carolina, not far from Congaree National Park. This turned out to be a great decision. The sites were spacious, nice sandy base, Spanish moss hanging from the trees, and not a single mosquito. Good morning. After a great night's sleep, it's time for breakfast in the van. So at this campsite, I do have a really nice picnic table right outside, but it's 45 degrees outside, so it's not so appealing to haul all my food outside just to stand in the cold. It's at least 10 degrees warmer here in the van, and so I'm going to have breakfast inside. And thanks to my layout, everything is super convenient. So it turns out that the top of the cooler is a really good place to put the stove for minor cooking tasks like heating up water and heating up small pots of food and things like that. The top of the cooler is really sturdy, it's perfectly flat, and before I start, I'll just let you know that I do have both of my front windows open a little bit, and my power exhaust fan in the back is also turned on. So there's enough airflow in the van to keep this safe. And of course, the other benefit of putting the stove over here on the cooler is that it makes extra space available on the table for the rest of my meal prep. Breakfast is ready. Granola with some fresh fruit and yogurt, coffee, banana, hard-boiled egg, and peanut butter toast. This is going to keep me going all the way to lunch. Wait a minute. Toast? How did I make toast? Well, one of my guilty pleasures is a regular household toaster. And the great thing about this battery pack that I have is that it will power up to a 1200 watt regular household appliance. Okay, time for cleanup. So the placement of the sink on the table allows me to easily do dishes just sitting on the couch. But it is a little easier to do dishes while standing up. So I think what I'm going to do is I'll open up the side door and use the sink as a standing sink from the other side. I confess I'm a fan of state parks. I know they cost a little bit, but I like the security of being able to make a reservation online and the knowledge that I won't be hunting around in the dark trying to find a place to camp. Congaree National Park preserves the largest tract of old-growth bottomland hardwood forest left in the United States. The entire park is only 41 square miles, so it isn't very large. My first stop in the park was a kayak trip on Cedar Creek. and the outfitter set us up with comfortable sit-on-top kayaks and all the gear we needed. Along the banks of Cedar Creek, there are often sections that are covered with hundreds of holes, and I learned from the guide that these are actually snake holes. I was hoping for that Indiana Jones moment where all the snakes come pouring out of their holes at once, but alas, it was November, and the snakes are underground sleeping. Bummer. But the upside of it not being snake viewing season is that it's also not mosquito season. I didn't see a single mosquito in my entire time in South Carolina. After about 3 hours on the river, we got back to our starting point, and it was time to head to the visitor center for the boardwalk hike. At 2.5 miles, this is definitely the longest boardwalk trail I've ever been on, and it's really nice. It passes through some very interesting landscapes. The trail is in excellent condition, and if you listen carefully, you can hear the sound of a pileated woodpecker banging on a tree somewhere in the distance. This trail makes so many interesting turns. I love the way they've designed this thing. So just for some additional mileage, I added the Weston Lake loop onto the boardwalk trail, and that was nice, but I think the boardwalk trail is really the highlight of this park. It's really quite something. And so my visit to Congaree came to an end, but on my way out, as I was on to my next destination, I was treated to the views of rolling cotton fields ready for harvest. Good morning. It's morning in Kentucky. I'm at Nolan Lake State Park, right outside Mammoth Cave, getting ready for the cave tour. And I've got this really nice campsite by the lake. It's currently 34 degrees, but it was super cozy in the van last night. No trouble staying warm. And I wanted to make one other comment about an item that I told you about in the second build video that I made. And it's this little vent fan in the corner. So I put in this exhaust vent fan in this tilt-out window. I use it whenever I cook inside the van for some safe airflow. And I also use it when I have a candle on, which I normally do every evening. That was kind of an experimental piece I added, and turns out to be really good. All right, let's get on with the day. After leaving Nolan Lake Campground, the short drive to Mammoth Cave National Park held two unexpected treats: the Nolan Lake Dam and the Green River Ferry. The dam has created this very pretty lake with a surrounding federal recreation area for boating and stuff. On the outlet side of the dam, the flow races through this channel that they've constructed, and the steam is rising into the river valley. A little further down the road, you pass a sign that indicates that the road ends in water. And that seems a little odd until you realize that the road actually ends in water. But no worries, the Park Service operates this 3-car ferry across the Green River 364 days a year. Mammoth Cave is the most extensive cave system on Earth, with over 365 miles of surveyed passageways, and it's thought that there could be an additional 600 miles of as yet undiscovered pathways. Most of the entrances to this cave were discovered because their opening is part of a sinkhole. So like this one, it's just nestled in this Kentucky forest land, and then suddenly this sinkhole emerges. And it goes down fast. I chose to go on the Grand Avenue tour, which is one of the ranger-guided tours of the cave. This is 4 hours and 4 miles long, so it's really quite a lengthy hike. This tour goes through slot canyons, tubular passageways, tall canyons, large rooms, and tunnels, and it's the longest tour that they offer. After 4 hours and 4 miles hiking through the cave, you really become immersed in this underground environment. And it's amazing to think that the part you walk through is just 0.5% of the passageways in the Mammoth Cave system. As I head for the exit, it's nice to see daylight again. There are also a lot of nice trails on the Mammoth Cave Park property. It sure is pretty in the fall. So it came time to once again head for home, but I really enjoyed my tour of these two southern parks. Each of them is small enough to be done in a single day, and neither one has an entry fee. So until next time, take care, and maybe I'll see you down the road.